the cutting ties cards, the big one? Where are the cutting ties cards, the big one? It's 11:30. Let's go live. It's 11:30. Let's go live. Yeah. Yes. Ready? Okay. Let's begin with 3 ohms. Let's begin with 3 ohms. మళ్ళీ తర్వాత చేసుకో ప్లీజ్ తర్వాత చేసుకుని పో మళ్ళీ తర్వాత లైవ్ చేసుకో ప్లీజ్ తర్వాత చేసుకుని పో లైవ్ తర్వాత చేసుకో So are we audible? Audio is on? Are we audible? Okay, audio is on. Let's go ahead then. So this is a live session also. So we have so this is a live session also. Those of you who are here with us in the live audience, we just ask you to those of you who are just a little bit. Also, if you have questions, then please take the mic. Also, that the people who are watching from a distance can also hear what you're saying. And if you have questions again or comments, again please also use the microphone. Please turn off your mobile phones if you haven't done so. Please turn off your mobile phones. So shall we begin? Done so already. All right. Okay. So shall we begin? All right. Let's imagine that you're sitting in a golden circle. The golden circle is on the ground, and the diameter is as if you took both of your hands on either side of you, stretch them all the way apart with your fingers extended, and that would be the diameter of this golden circle. It's on the ground. That would be the diameter of this. Now, if you're sitting on the floor, sit comfortably so that your arms. Now, if you're sitting on the floor, your legs rather crossed. So that if you're sitting in a chair, then sit so that your legs are uncrossed. If you're sitting in a chair, feet are also uncrossed, so that your legs are feet are flat on the ground. This allows the energy to flow. And that your feet are flat on the ground. This allows. Let's place our hands with palms facing upwards towards the ceiling, like little bowls with palms facing upwards towards the ceiling, remind ourselves to be more receptive to the divine energies. Ourselves to be more receptive to the divine energies that we visualize or feel this in your inner scene for just a moment. Visualize or feel this in this golden circle represents your inner space. This golden circle represents in the center of this room, wherever you are. Imagine there's a beautiful maypole. Wherever you are, imagine there's a with a large sphere, a golden globe or sphere with a large sphere. And hanging from this top of the maypole are many different colored ribbons. Top of the maypole are many different colored ribbons. In your inner scene, go out of your circle, walk towards the maypole, and take one of these ribbons in your hand. And notice one of these ribbons in your hand. Notice the texture of this ribbon. How does it feel in your hand? Notice the texture of this ribbon. And then go back to your golden circle. In your hand. And then sit down. And then go back to your golden circle. Notice that everyone who is attending this session, notice that everyone connected to the maypole in the same way. Is connected. The top of the maypole, of course, represents the high sea. The top of the maypole consciousness represents the God self of us all. Whether you want to call it Jesus, the God self, Buddha, Rama, Krishna, Sai. It's all the same. Rama, Krishna, Sai. The ribbon that you're holding in your hand represents the inner connection to the high sea. It works just like a telephone connection to the high sea. It works just like a telephone cable. you can give a short tug on the ribbon in your inner seeing, just to make sure that you're connected to the Maypole, just to make sure that you're connected. Maybe the high C will even pull back. Maybe the high C will even pull back. Now let's turn over the guidance and the direction of this entire session to the guidance of the high C. Direction of this entire session to the guidance of the high C. And let us ask the high C to send through the ribbon directly to us, relaxing through the ribbon directly to us, relaxing. You can think, feel, visualize, or imagine this relaxing energy flowing from the high C, the higher consciousness, flowing from the high C, the higher consciousness. Phyllis Crystal would often tell us that she would see so many people who come to her with so much stress, so much tension from their day-to-day world, so much tension. This relaxing energy is crucial for us to remain healthy, but it's also important for us to connect to the high C. But it's also important for us to completely relax. It's difficult to maintain that connection. It's difficult. As you breathe in this divine relaxing energy. As you exhale with a big exhale, let go of whatever tension or strain you may be holding. Let go of whatever tension or strain you may be. Breathe in again very deeply. And then as you exhale, let go of whatever tension or strain. And then as you exhale, let go of whatever tension or strain. Breathe in again very deeply. And then as you exhale, again very deep tension. And then as you exhale, you can even bring your shoulders up towards your ears. You can even bring your shoulders up towards your ears. Let go. And then as you exhale, just letting go of whatever tension you are feeling. Letting go. Scan your body. And if you feel any stress or strain in your body, then allow this relaxing energy to flow through. Then allow this relaxing energy to flow through. Letting go of all. As Phyllis would tell us, let go. As Phyllis would tell us, let go. Let go, let go. Now let us ask the high C to send us healing energy. Now let us ask the high C healing energy. Healing think, energy. Feel, visualize, or imagine energy. This divine healing energy visualize coming from the high C, the higher consciousness, the highest aspect of us all, through the ribbon, the highest aspect of us all. Let it not be a small flow of energy. Let it be a huge. Let it not be a giant wave. Let it be a huge flow, like a fire hose that was open completely. Fire hose, a huge flow of divine healing energy that's capable of healing you physically, emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Emotionally, you can ask this healing energy to heal you of whatever you no longer need. Healing energy to heal you of whatever thoughts you no longer need. Old beliefs, it could be old traumas, old memories, sadness, whatever it is that keeps you from realizing your divine self. Whatever it is that keeps you from realizing your divine self. Breathe in this healing energy and let go of anything else. Breathe in this healing energy and let go of anything else that you no longer need. Now let us ask the high C to send us purifying and cleansing energy. To send us purifying and cleansing energy. Think, purifying, and visualize, or imagine this divine energy coming in huge waves, and this divine energy from the high C through the ribbon directly to you. From the high C, breathe in this purifying and cleansing energy. Phyllis would say that you can also imagine it as a shower of energy coming down upon you, cleansing us again, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. As we go about our workday, as we go out into the world, as we go about our workday, as we come into contact with so many people of different beliefs, different ways of living and working, and we can get affected by those interactions. And this divine purifying and cleansing energy will wash away this divine purifying may have unknowingly picked up in the course of our day. Unknowingly picked up in the course of our day. Now let us ask the high C to give us strengthening energy. Strengthening energy. Think, feel, visualize, or imagine this divine strengthening energy coming from the high sea, this divine strengthening through the ribbon, coming in a huge flow of energy to you through the ribbon. In a Phyllis would often hear people tell her that would often hear people they were feeling so tired that at the end of the day they wouldn't have any energy or strength. At the end of the day, they wouldn't have any strengthening energy. However, gives us all the strength that we need. However, and when you come to rely on this divine strength, and when you come, you find that you actually have everything that you need. You're no longer tired. That you actually have everything. We would see this with Phyllis at the end of a 10 or 12-hour working day. She would still be as fresh as a flower, even though she was 50 years older than us, and we were already even though she was 50 years older than us, and we were already divine strength. This is breathe in this divine strength, and let go of any weakness, any fatigue, and any tiredness that you might be feeling. Any fatigue, any tiredness that you might be feeling. And finally, let us ask for that most precious gift of all. Let us ask for that God's unconditional love, the unconditional love of the high sea, the unconditional love, feel of the high sea. Visualize or imagine this divine feel, unconditional visualize love, or imagine this divine gift that we could ever ask for. Precious gift that we imagine it coming in huge waves from the high sea to you. Imagine it coming in huge waves unconditional from the high love sea to you is what you have been searching for literally hundreds of thousands for literally hundreds of thousands of births. But this unconditional love is available for all of us at any time. Unconditional love you don't have to deserve it at any time. You don't have to deserve it. It is your birthright. You don't have to earn it. Breathe in and fill yourself completely with this divine. Breathe in and fill yourself love and really feel the flow of energy unconditional as it comes really to you. As you breathe in this unconditional love, let go of anything that is not pure love within you. Just breathe it in and breathe it back out. Breathe in God's love and breathe out anything that you no longer require. That loving energy is everything that you could possibly need. And finally, we have to share this energy with others. Otherwise, as Phyllis would say, it becomes stagnant like water. It has to flow. So let us take our hands together and put them in the namaste position with fingers slightly pointing away from ourselves. And let us bring to our inner scene, in our mind, people whom we love, those who are closest to us, our families and our friends. And let this energy flow to them one by one, letting each person go in turn to receive the high sea's unconditional love. Ask the high sea to send its love through you, through your extended fingers to each of these individuals. Also, bring to your mind people whom you don't like or who don't like you, because this situation also requires the love of the high sea. And when you're done, you can place your hands again in your laps, palms facing upwards like little bowls or cups to receive again more unconditional love of the high C. You're still connected to God through the ribbon, through the maypole. Phyllis would say this practice, simple practice of sending love to people whom we don't like or who don't like us, is often sufficient to heal relationships that have been strained even for many years. Now, let us bring to our mind groups of people who could benefit from this unconditional love of the high C. Let's put our hands back together again in the namaste position, fingers slightly pointing outwards. And let's bring each group in turn just briefly before us and allow the love of the high C to flow through us, through our extended palms and fingers to each group. This could be people in hospitals or nursing homes, people in refugee camps, people in prisons or jails, psychiatric wards or mental institutions, people in orphanages, for example, or wherever there are people who are struggling, who are suffering. Bring each group to you one by one and allow them to receive the divine, unconditional love of the high C. Let's place our hands together back in our laps, connect again to the high C, fill ourselves up with its unconditional love. And whenever you're ready, you can place your hands back together again in the namaste position, fingers slightly extended outwards. And this time, let us ask the high C to send to us, to visualize rather, places in the world which require its unconditional love. This could be places affected by drought or flooding, fires, or natural calamities such as hurricanes, cyclones, or typhoons, earthquakes. It could be places where there is war or civil unrest, such as in Syria, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and so many other places in the world. Also, send the high seas unconditional love to the leaders of these areas because they have the position to make real, meaningful change in the lives of those people whom they govern. And now let us give this unconditional love to ourselves. So place your arms around you. Put your arms together as if you're hugging yourself. And say quietly to yourself, I love me. Good. And now let us say it out loud together. I love me. Very good. Really squeeze yourself tight and give yourself that love of the high C. Let's say it again. I love me. And now let's say it so loud that the whole roof can hear it. I love me. Very good. You can come out of the meditation, open your eyes, rub your hands together, stretch your arms and legs like a cat or dog coming out of sleep, coming back to the present moment here on Saturday, October 6th. We're here speaking from Sai Lakshmi in Kadugodi. Okay. So, what we'll do in today's session is we're going to go over what we call the feeling sense. Okay, can you guys see me with the camera in the way? Is it okay? Yeah, if I hide like this, you can't see me, no? Okay, so we're going to go over the feeling sense. So over the many years, you've heard different speakers, Phyllis, Mandy, Krista, talk about how when we connect to the maypole, you can think, feel, visualize, or imagine the energy coming from the high C, right? This is a standard way, and it's very beautiful because it allows people with different orientations to receive energy from the high C, no matter what they think. Somebody who's very mental can think about it, somebody who's very visual can see it, and so forth. Now, we have been gifted by God this feeling sense. Feeling means not just here, like, my sense of touch, for example. I'm not talking about that type of feeling, nor am I talking about emotions. Like, there's a lot of women in the room today, and there's hardly any guys. So, and the guys are the ones who said, they don't express their feelings, right? They keep it bottled up in amongst themselves. I'm not talking about that also. That's a totally different issue. What I'm talking about is when we connect to the high C, when we're working inside, we can use this sense of feeling, using the physical body as a sense organ to actually understand and to communicate with the high C. Okay, so it's a very rare gift. In other words, I can say to you that I feel love, right? I can say that I feel scared, I feel worried, I feel happy. Now, when someone says that to you, you generally accept it as is. That, in other words, if I say to you that I feel happy, I don't doubt that I'm feeling happy, right? I know it. But when I say, I think about this, or about this kind of situation, I think this or I'm that, but I'm not sure, that is coming from the mind. So we had discussed this earlier when we said that most of us, unfortunately, are still doing our spiritual practice from the level of the mind. And it's not just any mind, it's a monkey mind. So imagine a monkey sitting doing sadhana. No, it's just not possible. But that's the monkey mind trying to do spiritual practice. It doesn't happen. But that's what we've been doing for so long, many of us for decades. And then we wonder why we don't really move forward. So if we work instead from the heart, which is a center of feeling, then we can progress much more faster. See, the mind will ask questions, the mind will have doubts. The heart, on the other hand, will be sure. The heart will give you clarity. We never say, I'm not sure what I'm feeling, but we can say, I'm not sure what I'm thinking. Now, let me give you a very practical example of this from a sadhana perspective. So you come to this meditation session, we ask you to connect to the high C, and we ask you to get a message from the high C about whatever situation you'd like or whatever the high C would like to tell you, right? This is a common thing that we've done many times. And then what happens? You said, I think I heard the high C say this, but how do I know if it's really the high C or my monkey mind, right? That's everybody has had that experience. I'm trying to connect to God, but how do I know if it's really God who's talking to me or if it's just my monkey mind talking to me, right? And that is because you're doing this sadhana from the level of the mind. And of course you're going to have doubts. Of course. If instead you do this from the heart, right, then there's no room for doubt. You will be completely sure, okay? Now, in the same way, when and we'll show you how to do this. We're going to actually do this in a minute. Another example is when we are receiving the energies of the high C. Let's say we ask for healing energy. So what happens in that case is we may be getting some energy, think, feel, visualize, or imagine. So we sometimes see some energy coming through the ribbon. However it is that you do the meditation is fine. But when you really feel that healing energy and use your body as a sense organ to feel it, not just your eyes or your ears. I'm not just talking one particular sense. I'm talking about the entire body as a way of sensing that healing energy coming to you. The experience is much more powerful, and the healing is much faster. We've all done the healing energy. Let's say you had some health issue, and then you wonder why the health issue is not resolved. Well, you said, well, if I connected to the high C, I asked for healing energy, but I still have the same problem afterwards, right? Because you're still doing it on the mind level. You're just thinking, visualizing, imagining, and it never gets you anywhere unless you actually feel it coming in and really feel that healing energy come. Now, the beauty of this feeling is that you're just allowing the energy to do whatever it needs to do, right? God's healing energy is a very intelligent energy. It's a divinely intelligent. It knows exactly what needs to be done. So here you're not trying to guide or push or direct the energy in any way because it's divine energy. It knows far better than we do what you need. And you're just feeling it as it goes through and takes whatever course it has to. So let's go ahead and practice this, okay? And then we'll stop afterwards and have some questions. So, Aravind, if you can have the mic ready after this particular meditation is over, we'll take some comments from the audience. Yeah? Okay. So go ahead and connect back to the high C. You're sitting again in your golden circle. The ribbon is still in your hand from the maypole. You've never let go. You're always connected to the maypole. And let's ask the high C to send us healing energy. Healing energy. Instead of thinking about it, instead of visualizing it or imagining it, I want you to really feel that energy. Make it a physical experience. It's not something that's just in your mind. Make it a physical experience, but you have to allow that energy to flow. Just simply allow it to flow. It will help if you take in a few breaths, and as you breathe out, just be receptive to that flow of energy. Breathe in again. And as you breathe in that healing energy and actually feel it as it's flowing into you. And as you breathe out, allow that healing energy to go wherever it needs and feel it as it flows through you. Make it a physical sensation as best you can. It may not be like a pinprick or a sensation of heat. It may just be a feeling. It's hard to quantify, but it will still be very real. Now let's do the same thing with purifying and cleansing energy. Purifying and cleansing energy. Now really feel that energy coming in and cleansing you on all levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, but make it a felt sense. Use that sensation of feeling to really bring it in. Okay, good. So let's stop here. This is the first step. Let's see if there are any questions or comments from the audience, and then we'll go to the second step. I've just sort of given you a brief introduction, and then we'll go actually much more in the next step. So any comments or questions? Raji, you want to share your thoughts on that, how it was?
Initially, it was a little difficult to feel. It is probably very used to visualizing. But the cleansing energy, I could feel it more, like physically feel it.
Physically feel it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So initially it was difficult, right? Because you're not used to doing, you've been visualizing, and then after the second time with the second energy, it was a more stronger sensation.
Yes.
Okay, good, good. Anyone else?
Yeah, for me, it was a little different. I could not exactly feel the cleansing energy. I want a little more help for it.
Okay, okay, good, good. So one energy, what was the first energy okay when we started with healing? Okay, all right. And generally when you do this, you can feel the healing energy. Okay, good, but not not the other one. Okay, now it won't be like a shower, like you stand in the shower and it's like hot water coming on you. It won't be like that, but you should. And we're not talking about a physical sense here. Okay, so maybe you would feel heat, maybe you'll feel cold. It's different for each person, but we're talking about. It's very hard to quantify. You could qualify it. It's like, how do you know when you feel love? No, you just feel it as a warm, as a feeling of love. No, in the same way, how do you know it when you're feeling this healing energy coming to you, or purifying, cleansing energy come to you? You can actually feel it as a sense of energy being sent to you. So what I'd like you to do is you should actually feel the energy coming from the high seat to you. That's the key part. Is you're not thinking about it, you're not imagining it anymore, you're not visualizing it. All that's gone. You're just feeling it as coming as a huge flow through to you and then through you. So the other part is to feel it go in and then out. That is, it has to go beyond you to everything else around you. In other words, after you're done with this meditation, the place where you sat should be charged with those energies. Okay? Your clothes should be charged with those energies. Your watch or whatever else you're wearing should be charged with those energies. That's the proper way to have this energy flow. Now, let's go a bit deeper. Okay, so we're going to do this again. Now, when you're asking for God to send you something, right? The best way is to, of course, have an attitude of humility, but the going beyond that is to have an attitude of thankfulness or gratitude, right? So having this sense of gratitude, thankfulness, appreciation can allow you to connect much more to this energy. Why? Because it's a reflective universe, right? So when you're already thankful for being healed, because it's a reflective universe, you're attracting to yourself those energies that will allow you to be healed. If you're asking for a positive outcome in something that you would like to happen, for example, if you start with an attitude of gratitude for that, it makes it that much easier. So let's say you're studying for an exam and you really want to get good grades, and you're not sure, but you start with that gratitude of, now you better have studied first, but when you're praying, you start with that attitude of gratitude that you have done well on the examination, and that allows that divine energy to flow much more easily to you. Otherwise, what happens is you may be asking for some energy, but if you have any doubt, you're not sure that the high C is coming, it's as if you're putting up your hands to push away whatever energy the high C would be giving to you, right? But instead, if you start with appreciation, gratitude, thankfulness, it makes that energy flow instant, okay? So let's start now with strengthening energy. And this time, let's start with the appreciation that God is giving me far more strength than I could ever have imagined. I have such strength that I can accomplish anything that God wills for me. I have so much strength that I can think or complete anything that God asks me to. I have such strength that I can speak in any way that God asks me to. I have such strength that I can physically run for miles and miles if God asks me to. Have that type of strength, but have the appreciation that God is giving. God has given you this, not is given. God has given you already this particular strength, this quality of strength, okay? And then once you have developed that feeling or emotion of gratitude, then allow the sense of, or rather the energy of strength to come to you. Okay, does that make sense? So we're going to connect to the high C. We're going to start already with that emotion of gratitude, or that feeling of gratitude, and then we're just going to feel the strengthening energy come to us. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin again. You're still in your golden circle. You're sitting down. Again, if you're sitting in a chair, keep your legs and feet uncrossed, feet flat on the floor. You can place your hands in your palms, hands in your lap with palms facing upwards like little cups or bowls. You're still holding on to the ribbon, still connected to the maypole. We're about to receive strengthening energy. Let's make ourselves thankful. Develop this feeling of gratitude to the Lord for giving us so much strength. We're now able to do far more than we thought possible. We're able to serve in so many more ways than we previously thought possible. We're able to perform our work, whether it's at home, in the office, in the community, with so much more vigor, so much more strength, so much more detail and clarity than we thought possible. Have that gratitude. And then, as you hold this feeling of appreciation or gratitude, allow God's strengthening energy to flow through you. And as that happens, hold on to the feeling of that energy flow. Allow it to come like a huge flow of energy, as if someone had taken a gigantic pipe 10 or 20 feet in diameter and opened it up in full blast, and strengthening energy was just coming out. Now, here, focus on the feeling. As this energy flows, just pay attention to the feeling of the energy flow. What's it like as you receive this strengthening energy? Good. Now come back. You can gently stretch. Come back to the present moment. So that's very different, right? So let's hear, Malini, can you give us some comments? What was that like, or how was that different compared to what you had done before?
What I felt was when you asked for the gratitude thing to come in first before we are receiving the energy, something opened up as if there was some barrier that I was putting up from my front, but when I put in that gratitude in place, and then when I'm receiving the energy, it was much easier to receive it. And at the level of feeling the energy, I felt a lot of expanse at my level, as if I'm not just constrained to this physical self that I am. I felt as if I've expanded around myself, and that was the kind of feeling that I felt.
Good. Very good. Very good. Very good. So once you have the attitude of gratitude, right, it allows the energy to come in much greater amplitude, much greater force. Yeah. Others who want to share? Yeah, in the back, if you can pass the mic.
I felt something similar. It felt like the energy that was flowing was not something I was asking for. It just came. It was breaking the bound. I remember every time the strengthening energy would come, earlier it would feel like it's in this realm of this body, it's limited to this body and this. Today it just like expanded, that it broke some boundaries over there.
So it felt like you were moving beyond then,
Yeah,
and
it
moving
was
beyond your physical body also,
Yeah,
for both
yeah,
of you.
yeah.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. Anyone else want to share? So in the first step, you start by asking for strengthening energy. Now in the second step, you start with that feeling of gratitude or appreciation, that thankfulness, which allows the energy to flow much greater in greater amplitude. But can you see the difference between when you think or visualize the energy versus when you feel it? Is it qualitatively different in terms of, right? Is it more or less real to you? More real, right? Yeah, it's much more real. This feeling sense, this felt sense that we have, and again, I'm not talking about the five indriyas, the jnanindriyas that we have. I'm not talking about hearing, thinking, hearing, touch, smell, and so forth. I'm talking about this inner sense of feeling is very powerful. And I'm not talking about emotion also, okay? Let's be clear. It's not about emotion. You know, sometimes when devotees, especially on the lady side, they would start crying when Sai Baba would come towards them, and Swami would go to them and tease them. He said, "Are you being devotional or are you being emotional?" He would say. So he's not talking here about an emotion. Okay, that's not, we're not about sadness or gladness or ananda. We're not talking about that at all. It's an actual sense that you use where this whole body becomes a instrument. It becomes a sense organ to actually feel the divine energy flow. And the beauty of this is that the accuracy is far greater. Now, again, when you're feeling these energies, did you have any doubt that you're feeling it? No. See, everyone is shaking their head. It's real, right? But if I ask you to get a message from God, half the audience will say, how do I know if it's my monkey mind or if it's really God who is speaking to me? Correct? No? This is like every time we do this. So now you're bypassing all that and going to a much more accurate way to receive divine guidance. Okay, now we're going to change the tone. Previously, we were just asking for energies, and that's pretty easy because you're just receiving. You're being passive. Okay. Now we're going to change it a bit. What we're going to do is you're going to ask the high C to give you whatever you need. Okay, whatever you need. Okay, that's the first part. Okay, and then in the second part, we're going to ask the high C to tell you whatever it is that you need to know. But here you're going to give the high C a condition. Okay, we're going to place a condition on the high C. I'm going to ask the high C to show that through you, to show whatever it is that you need to know through feeling. Okay, through feeling. Now, all of you, as soon as I said we're going to ask the high C to tell you what you need to know, you're as if you're going to be sitting here and the high C is going to tell you, Dimpy, you need to do this. You know, that's what you're all. It's not like that. Okay, it's not like that. Here we're asking the high C to tell you whatever you need to know, but it's going to come through feeling. And I'm not going to give it away. What will happen? Allow you to discover it on yourself. So let's go ahead and hook up to our maypole. We're back in our golden circle. Our palms are in our laps, palms facing upwards, like little bowls or circles, or little bowls or cups, so that we can receive from the high C. The ribbon is still in your hand. You're still connected to the high C. Breathe in deeply and let go of any tension or stress. Use this feeling sense to just feel in your physical body if there's any tension or stress that you may be holding on to, and let go of it. You can ask for a little bit of relaxing energy if you require. If you have any physical discomfort from sitting, then just ask the high C to give you the energy so that you can sit comfortably, even as you're sitting in this meditation. It's very simple. Your knees will stop paining, your back will stop hurting, etc. So if you're having any physical discomfort from sitting in meditation, ask the high C to give you the energy to be able to sit comfortably. Now let's reconnect with this attitude of gratitude. Be thankful, be grateful to be in the direct presence of the high C. Just have that gratitude that you are with the high C. And then ask the high C to give you whatever the high C knows that you require right now. Don't visualize anything. Don't try to imagine or think about anything. Just feel that energy coming from the high sea to you, and be grateful as you receive that energy. Whatever the high sea knows that you require is being given to you now, and just feel it as it comes to you. As you receive this energy, go deeper into the feeling. Try to explore that feeling of what it is that you're receiving. You don't have to understand it, that's not required, but just go and explore that feeling of the energy that is being sent to you. The high sea is giving you whatever it is that you require. Look at the feeling. Just experience that feeling in more detail, in more depth. Now, as we do this exercise, depending on your orientation, you may still be seeing or visualizing something. You may be thinking something, that's fine, but the feeling sense should predominate. Holding that attitude of gratitude, that sense of thankfulness or appreciation, let us now ask the high sea to tell us whatever the high sea would like to tell us. But let it again come through that sense of feeling. The sense of feeling. Let the high sea tell you whatever it is that you need to know, but let it come through the sense of feeling. Very good. Let's slowly come back. You can open your eyes, stretch your hands and feet if you'd like to. Okay. So we can get some comments. How was that experience? And that was very different, I know. So how was that? Raji, would you like to share again, please?
One thing I noticed, like through all of it, is I noticed that the mind is really silent because I think it's really silent compared to just visualization. And the first time I felt the boundaries kind of dissolve, like not feeling. It was not like I don't know how to put it. It was like the cells were dissolving, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time, it felt like that is what does a high C want to tell through a feeling. For that, I felt as if I was just moving out, and then something like this. Again, it was a deeper experience of dissolving.
Good. Very good. Excellent. So the feeling is, the experience is much deeper when you use the feeling sense, right? So what happens is when you try to work with God and you limit it to the monkey mind, it will stay at the level of the monkey mind. And you'll wonder why you're not moving forward. But when you're working with this inner sense of feeling, the connection becomes much more real. Now, when God gave you whatever you required, did any of you have any doubt at that time? Was it like, is this really what I need? No, that didn't happen, right? So you were sure that whatever you felt or whatever you were receiving based on that feeling was correct. No, that was exactly what you needed. Yeah, there's some comments also.
So, when I was asking Heisi to let me know, what I need to know, I felt I was getting to know something, but I could not intellectually. I mean, I didn't know. I could feel I'm getting to know something, but intellectually, I don't know what it is.
Right.
So, is
Good.
that going to take some time? Or
That's actually very good, because so the comment is that the high C was trying to tell you what you needed to know.
yes,
Is that right?
and I felt I'm getting
You
to
could
know.
feel something,
Yes,
but you're like not really sure what it is. Okay.
yes.
Okay, good. So that means that you weren't trying to grasp with your mind. Remember, the ability of the mind is a very powerful tool. It's a superb instrument, but it's very limited in its capacity to understand this communication with God. So the reason we're working on the feeling part is because the feeling leads directly to knowing. Okay, and we'll do this as the last exercise now in just a moment. And we'll take this to the next step. So when you're trying to connect to God in the high C and trying to get guidance from the Maypole, right? From the high C using the Maypole, oftentimes we expect that God will say, okay, it says Maypole, it is Phyllis Crystal method, all rights reserved. No, this is what we expect to see, as if God is reading us a list of instructions for us to follow. That is not correct. When we use the feeling sense, that feeling sense leads immediately to knowing. And that knowing oftentimes can be instant, meaning it just happens just like that. And it's very beautiful because then there's no doubt anymore, right? You just know exactly what God is telling you. The doubt goes away, the lack of clarity, the miscommunication or lack of understanding, misunderstandings go away because of that feeling sense. Feeling leads to knowing, and in that knowing, everything else is given to you. Okay, so let's go through this because I think this will help you to understand. So let us again, we're seated in our golden circle. The golden circle is on the ground. The diameter is if your hands and fingers are spread out on either side of you. It's on the floor. If you're sitting in a chair, then keep both of your feet and legs uncrossed with your feet flat on the ground. And you can, if you like, keep your hands in your laps with palms facing upward towards the ceiling, with cupped like little bowls or cups to receive from the high C. Now, let us ask the high C to show you whatever you need, to know. But ask the high C to show you through your feeling sense so that you know this instantly. You just know it instantly, but it has to come from the feeling sense. This is the query you're going to put to the high C. Now remember, the high C will answer everything as long as it's appropriate. There's nothing that you cannot ask the high C. Let's begin with that attitude of gratitude. this feeling of appreciation or thankfulness that all of your doubts and queries have been answered, go ahead and ask the high C again, whatever question. If you have a problem that you're facing now, this would be a good opportunity. So you can take that problem in your mind's eye, present it to the high C. You don't have to explain in detail. The high C knows everything already. Just give that problem to the high C, holding that feeling of appreciation, of gratitude, thankfulness, and ask the high C to show you the solution for that problem or anything else the high C would like you to know. But let it come through feeling, and ask the high C to give you through feeling knowledge of whatever is required that for God's solution. That is, to understand God's solution to that problem. Breathe in deeply. And as you breathe out, hold on to that feeling of gratitude or thankfulness. You've given this problem to the Lord. The solution will come from Him. And just feel it. Let's slowly come back to the present moment. You can stretch your arms and feet, open your eyes, turn your head from side to side if you like. It's 12:30, 12:35 almost here in Sai Lakshmi in Whitefield. Okay, so first of all, did anyone get an answer to their problem? You don't have to share the problem. That's your own thing. But if you just like to share how it came to you, we'd like to hear that.
More than the solution, I became aware of the immense fear that is stored. So I could really feel the constriction. I mean,
so you could feel what you were holding on to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was quite, revealing to me.
Okay. So that was revealing then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that's the core to holding the problem in place.
I see. Okay. So the problem then is in the fear that you're, or the solution really is to let go of the fear that you've been holding in place. Okay, this is common, right? So if you had just heard let go of fear, it would not have had the same impact as you actually feeling it and understanding it or experiencing it in that way. Good, very good, good.
Yeah, it was something similar while I was handing over the problem, I think it was the first time I actually looked at it closely. Otherwise, there was this struggling with the problem. That was the first time in handing over it, just just watching the whole movement of the problem, I think I felt the solution, but it's not in. So it was not particularly like fear or something. It felt like, if I don't mind sharing, the problem was it felt like I was not flowing, right? And I could see that in my workplace that the flow is not coming, and I've been struggling with it. Like there's that, it's not coming, it's not coming. I think it's for the first time that I just like handed it over like that, and I looked at the whole struggle with the not flowing, and there's a lot of dissipation of energy in that struggle,
Mhm.
and that's where all the energy is going.
So
think
could
I've
you
seen-
feel that, or did you understand that was the solution to the problem? Is that, were you able to find a solution then, or understand some part of the solution that's required?
It felt like to, it didn't, like the solution, I think it was just in watching this whole thing was where the pause came for me.
Mhm.
After that, I was not asking for what is the solution to this or
Yeah.
anything. I think there was a pause.
And
Just
here I think maybe I chose the wrong word. By solution, I don't mean that this is the red pill and this is the white pill and you can take one or the other and then your problem is solved. That's not what I mean. It's more of an understanding, right? And in that understanding, as Raji had said,
Yeah.
then actually you can solve this situation quite easily because you know exactly what needs to be done. So that's very good. Now, I think the other point that you brought out, which is very important, is that you handed over the problem to the high C. And that's very beautiful because you actually physically, or in some tangible sense, giving the problem to the high C and say, "Are yaar, you take care of it. I don't want this problem anymore," right? So, and in that feeling sense, you're able to do it. What happens is when you're stressed or strained, you sort of give it and then you take it back. And then you give it and then you take it back again. Here, please solve this problem for me, but then I'm going to take it with me again. But when you're really handing the problem over to the high C, it becomes the high C's responsibility to show you the solution. Yeah. Any other comments? I think there was one more. Did you have, Malini? Did you want to share something? Could you about the solution that you got?
As was brought forward by other, it was not articulated in any words or forms that it could be told to anybody. But at the feeling sense, yes, there was something which I felt, which I cannot articulate in words as to what it was. And of course, like how you said about handing over to Swami and then about the problem, then looking at it, that definitely made a huge difference. About giving it off all rather than having the impatience to hold on to it to know
Right.
what is the reply to
Right.
it.
So just handing over the problem. And that's what we do at the start of every cutting ties session, right? Is we hand over the direction of the entire session to the high C for the high C to guide all of us together. So let's summarize then what we've learned. This feeling sense is not one of the classic 5 organs of sense, like seeing, smell, taste, and so forth, nor is it one of the 5 organs of action, like walking, your arms, your legs, the tongue, and so forth. But it is a very real everyday experience. I feel happy, I feel hungry, I feel love, I feel tired. These are feelings that we all have. It's not an emotion that we're discussing, however. This is not an emotion. We're not talking about emotions of sadness, depression, excitement, anticipation. We're not talking about that also. It's rather using this inner feeling to communicate with God as a channel through which you communicate with the high C. And it's very easy to use and it's very powerful because it gets away so much of the doubt and the questioning that we might have if we're trying to receive guidance from the high C otherwise. The beauty of this is that, as you said, you feel like you're dissolving, you're disappearing, and only the high C is left. So what I would suggest you do to take this forward is you practice this feeling sense. Just sit with the high C, right? And ask the high C to give you different experiences of awareness. But feel it, just feel it. And if you're not sure, then you can ask the high C to show me. So I would like to know, for example, what is it like to be limitless? Just ask the high C and show me. And the key to to working with the high C is to ask the high C. I remember once Swami was saying that he was traveling with some lecturers and some professors from the college, and they're asking different questions. But Swami would suddenly give so much information that they were so surprised. How come, Swami, you're telling like this? And Swami said, all of these things are here, but because you don't ask me, I don't tell. If you ask me, then I will tell. And the high C is like that. If you ask, suppose you would like to say, Lord, I would like to have the consciousness of Adi Shankaracharya. Show me. Oh. We do that now? Okay, let's do it now then. All of you who are watching, just wait 5 more minutes, please. We'll just do this, okay? So breathe in deeply. You're sitting in your golden circle. You're connected to the ribbon, through the ribbon to the high C. Have that feeling of appreciation and gratitude, that feeling of thankfulness for being able to connect to the high C so easily and so surely. Ask the high C to give you the experience of the consciousness of Adi Shankaracharya, the great Indian saint who was an exponent of Advaita or non-duality. What was his consciousness or awareness like? Keep that feeling of gratitude. And then when you're ready, just ask the Lord, show me. And let's come back. Yes. So keep practicing this. Work on the feeling of that awareness. It's not a thinking, it's not a visualizing, it's not an imagination, it's just pure awareness. You're using the feeling sense to expand your consciousness, to expand your awareness. So work on this. This one question actually that we would ask, give me that awareness of non-duality, of being the absolute truth. Show me what it's like. That by itself is enough, then you'll be finished. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and end the online session. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll do more of these. We have, okay, let's have a sharing.
This was wonderful, Srikanth, and I mean, this little few seconds only you gave, I was enjoying the bliss at that time.
Yeah.
It was too good.
Yes. See, so simple, no? Simple, yes. Very good. Great. Thank you then. Thank you.